Hello, Lions fans, and welcome back to the fourth edition of The Next Level, a Lakeside video series that catches up with our student athletes who are continuing their athletic pursuits at the next level. My name is Mike Lengel. I'm the Creative Content Director for Lakeside Athletics, and as you can see, I'm here in the Accolade Gymnasium at the Paul G. Allen Athletic Center, somewhere I'm finally allowed to be because, as you may or may not know, we've recently started bringing students back to campus in a hybrid model of learning, that is different grades on campus for different weeks. This beautiful gym is active. It's really great to have life in here again. It's not as active as it normally would be this time of year, but this beautiful space and our auxiliary gym next door have been great spaces to allow our students to do active things in PE classes and strength and conditioning classes. There have been a flurry of changes made to the sports schedules in the home state of Washington, to our region, to our county, and of course, all the way down to our school. And we're doing our best here in the athletics department to stay on top of everything. If you're interested in learning more about how Lakeside Athletics is approaching sports for the remainder of the 2021 school year, visit our website at www.lakesideschool.org/athletics. All right, let's get on with the show. You may remember today's guest. Maybe you caught glimpses of her flying around the track or cross-country courses all over the Northwest, wearing the maroon and gold until she graduated in 2017. Then you maybe spotted her doing the same thing as a Princeton Tiger. It is my pleasure to welcome to the show, Sophie Cantine. Sophie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Just living the quarantine life, you know.
Aren't we all? I mentioned in my intro that I'm finally back here on campus. It had been like a year since I'd been back. And what's it like for you? Are you on campus at all right now?
No, but I am going to be going to campus very soon. Princeton invited back all students, so it's going to be great to see some people I haven't seen in a long time.
We are going to start with our first segment here. We like to call this The Book, and that is where I normally just take a minute to run through your career at Lakeside and your career at college, but I feel like with you, it's going to take a little bit longer than a minute. I was able to compile a ton of information about you here that we're just going to run through, so stick with me here. You are from our class of 2017, just like our last two guests here on the next level, Bennett Dondiano and Callan Spiller, your classmates. You ran cross country in the fall here, and you ran track in the spring. Here's some of the information I was able to find. You hold 4 school records, 1 in the 800 in track with a time of 2 minutes and 9 seconds, 0.2. You hold the 1600 meter record in track, which is 4 minutes and 49 seconds, 0.2, which is just flying. In cross country, you hold 2 records, one for the Magnuson Park Loop, which is a 3.1 mile loop, which you ran in 18 minutes and 19 seconds. And also the Nike Hole in the Wall invite, which you ran in 17 minutes and 48 seconds, 0.6. So also your freshman year, you were the Metro champion in the 1600. You were the Metro League cross country runner-up, the 2013 state 3A cross country runner-up with a 5K time of 18 minutes and 2 seconds, 0.63. Your sophomore year, you were the 2014 3A cross country runner-up. Your junior year, you were the 2016 Sea King District 2 800 meter track champion with a time of 2 minutes, 9 seconds, 0.28 seconds. And your senior year, you were the Metro League cross country runner-up, and you were the state 3A cross country runner-up, again in that 5K. You were 9th in the country in the class of 2017 in the 800 meter and 8th in the country from the class of 2017 in the mile. And your name is peppered pretty much throughout every cross country and middle distance league or state championship race too. There's just too many to name. Then you go on to Princeton University, where your sophomore year in cross country, you led your team to a national championship, their first appearance in the national championships, where you placed 8th at regionals and you were a first place scorer for your team. You were a 2019 NCAA regional qualifier. You were a 2018 Ivy League scorer, which means top 6 in the mile and the 4x8. You were a 2019 Ivy League scorer in the 1500, which is an outdoor event. A 2020 Ivy League scorer in the distance medley relay, which you told me is DMR for short. You are the first Princeton woman to be top 10 all time in the 1K, the mile, and the 3K. And on top of all of those things at Princeton University, you were on the United States Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association all academic team for 2019 and 2020, which is a pretty major accomplishment. Like I said, that was going to take a lot more than a minute to go through your career accolades. What's next for you? Is there running in the future for you after you graduate from Princeton?
Yes. So basically, because COVID has prevented me from being able to run the spring track season in 2020, the fall 2020 cross season and the winter 2021 indoor season, I have opportunities to make up that eligibility in graduate school. I can't do it within the Ivy League just because of Ivy League rules. You can only do 4 years. So I actually have decided to come back to Washington and run for the University of Washington for a year and do a grad school program there. So super excited and grateful for that opportunity.
That's awesome. Congratulations. We're excited that you're coming back to the West Coast. You'll be just 15 minutes down the street from Lakeside's campus. So it's almost like you're coming back.
I know. I really, it's sad to be so far away from, all the childhood things. And I'm happy that I'll be in the Seattle area. And
well, go Dogs. We're excited to have you back.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Sophie, we're going to move right into our next section. We call this one Playing Catch, and this is where we just catch up on all the things that you've been up to since your Lakeside career over there in Princeton and beyond. Now, we know from our episode with Callan Spiller, who plays basketball at Columbia University, also in the Ivy League, that the Ivy League was the first to really start shutting things down at the start of this pandemic. For them, that was the winter postseason of 2020. How did that translate to Princeton's spring track season? And what did that look like when things were changed and what practices looked like for you guys?
Yeah, it was a very sudden cancellation, I'd say, of our spring 2020 season. Within the span of 1 week, our spring break trip that was planned for the following week was canceled. And then the Ivy League canceled the entire track season. And then Princeton said, "You're going home." So it was a very overwhelming week. I went home. And because there was no meets in the foreseeable future, our coach basically said, you can either start early training for cross country or continue doing track workouts. Basically was training on my own. I'm lucky to have siblings who run that I could train with a little bit. In the summer, we were hoping for a cross country season, and that also got canceled. And Princeton announced that everything would be online. That was a little more structured, I'd say, in the fall. Our coach still wanted us to kind of train as if we had a cross country season. We had some virtual time trials. We had team Zoom meetings like every couple weeks or so. The coaches did a great job of keeping everyone in touch and motivated throughout the fall. Winter season is canceled as well, but since everybody's invited back to campus, we're going to be training in some capacity. There is not very specific details on what that will look like yet, but I know as of now that we're gonna have like training pods of like 5 that we're gonna be able to run with. It's not gonna be normal at all, but I'm just so happy to be able to have teammates because it's been so long since I've really trained with anyone and really miss it. I think being away from it for so long really makes you appreciate those little moments with your team every day. So yeah, I'm excited to go back and hoping for a spring season.
Glad to hear you're handling that well and that you're getting back to campus pretty soon. I want to shift it back to your time at Lakeside a little bit. Now, something that I remember, it still is the case to this day, our cross-country team rosters are usually always huge. Sometimes they're on the brink of like 80 and 90 members on the team. Now, big rosters like that, especially in high school sports, allow a lot of people to try a new sport for the first time without the pressure of being a leader or a standout or anything like that, to just sort of fit in with the team and do something active. I feel like you were a little bit opposite of that from the start. As we mentioned, you won a couple of things your freshman year. You were a clear leader. You were a standout right from the start. Even though your goals may have been different, somebody like you versus somebody who's trying something new, what is something that you feel like you have in common with people who are trying the sport out for the first time?
Whenever I think about the Lakeside cross country team, I think about family, because even though it was such a big group, I associate it with like tight knit and like warm and like it was literally like a big family. And I have to give huge credits to Sally, who's the coach, who really made an effort for the team to bond on all skill levels through having words of the week that we would like use to like engage us for training and like to think about throughout the week, or having small group team meetings, and we had big spirit days before every meet, and it was just like really intimate and really fun. And I think through that kind of family environment that was fostered on the team, it made it so that, no matter what skill level you were very like dedicated and very supportive of everyone on the team and wanted like genuinely to see everyone achieve their goals. And every meet, like we were strength in numbers and we would cheer everybody on in every race, and it would just be so enthusiastic. And I just feel like that is something that really made the team really cohesive, is just how everybody supported each other and how everybody really cared about seeing each other succeed.
That's great. I mean, that's great to see, especially with a roster of 80 to 90 kids.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier, you hold 4 school records that we have. Again, those were the 800, the 1600, the Magnuson Park 3.1 loop, and the Nike Hole in the Wall invite. Which of those do you remember being the hardest one to set?
It was definitely the 209 800 that I ran in my junior year at district, because up to that point, my relationship with track had been pretty tough in high school. In freshman year, I'd gotten injured at Metro, so I couldn't compete in districts and state. And in sophomore year, I was dealing with an iron deficiency that basically made every race feel very terrible. Going into my junior year, I was really trying to find confidence in myself, confidence in racing, and feel like, I'm tough, I'm strong, after like having my sophomore year when I'd ask my body to pick it up and it just couldn't, and I didn't know why. So I think like going into this race, I wanted to tell myself like, you can do this, you're strong. Going into the race, I had a very well thought out strategy of what I was gonna do at each moment in the race. Like on a certain turn, I was gonna do this, and on a certain straightaway, I was going to do this. And my goal was just never to give in to the negative thinking loop I had in my head at that time, really just to shut it out, put on my blinders, and just act like, a robot. Like if someone comes up on you, you surge, you don't overthink it, you just pick it up. And I was able to do it. And then at the end, when I saw the time, that was just the cherry on top, to be able to see 2092, which is a PR. And I almost actually got emotional just to finally have a race that I'm like, wow, I surprised myself. I exceeded my own expectations.
I have a question for you that I didn't, I read something about you that I read since we last talked, and that was that in your younger years, you were a competitive figure skater. When's the last time you had ice skates on and you were on the ice?
Oh boy. It was actually, right before the new year in 2019, I think. I went out actually with some old, some Lakeside friends in my class, and we went to the Bellevue skating rink. It was actually really fun. I was doing some of my old moves, and it's still in me. I haven't skated in like 10 years, and for some reason I can still do it. I'm honestly surprised.
All right, Sophie, we're moving on into our next section. This is one that we call storytellers, and this is one where, as I've described on every other episode, it's supposed to be a story that you tell us that is something that we can't find in score lines or box scores or anything like that. So it's on you. Tell us a story.
Yeah, so this is actually a story related to Lakeside, but actually very recent. In 2019, in the summer, I was very pleasantly surprised to see there's an alumni run coming up for Lakeside cross country. I was ecstatic because there are just so many people on the distance cross country team that I've developed such close relationships, from the seniors that I knew when I was a freshman, people who just graduated that became some of my closest friends in my senior year and junior years. When I went, it was just so cool because you kind of got to see the legacy of Lakeside cross country, because it wasn't just an alumni run, it was also a regular practice. You got to meet some people that were currently on the team, and it was so weird seeing people I've never seen before on the team. But I also got to see friends I hadn't seen in so long, and the coaches that, became so close to me. And it was just so awesome to see everyone that I've missed so much. And we just went on a run through Woodland Park. We ran around Green Lake and got acai bowls in Green Lake, and just being able to catch up to people, hear about their college experiences, even post-collegiate experiences. It just really through that experience, I was just wow, these people are gonna be my friends for such a long time. And it really showed me Lakeside cross country I'm never gonna forget it. Really, like the legacy of Lakeside cross country. It's special.
Yeah.
It's special. That team is something.
All right, Sophie, let's move on to our next segment here. We call this one Getting Nerdy, and this is where we just kind of get down into the details of your sport and what you're able to do with your sport. When you think about cross country, at least when I think about, well, I'll put it this way, before I knew about cross country, it looks like a bunch of people stepping up to a line, all trying to win a race, kind of like at a marathon you'd see on TV or something like that. But that's not necessarily true. A lot of the people in that race are wearing the same colors and they have different roles to play. So can you talk a little bit about how cross country functions like a team sport?
In high school and like especially in college, cross country really focuses on the team aspect. When you have a successful team, it really speaks to like how strong the program as a whole is. In order to win cross country race as a team, you have to have the lowest score, and your score is based on the place you get. So where that comes in strategy wise, it's really interesting because that means, and only the first 5 runners score, but it's really interesting because even the 6th and 7th runners, typically there's 7 runners in a championship race, they play key roles, even though they don't necessarily give a point. Everybody plays a key role. Let's say the 7th person on a team beats the 5th runner from another team, then that increases that 5th runner's score and helps your team out. A lot of teams try to dominate the race and like make a big pack and like, move as a unit to try to not only establish their dominance in the race, but also to encourage each other to stay as far up as they can so that their team can get the lowest score. So there's so much to it. And when our team made it to nationals, we were all just one unit that day. It was pretty electric. The team aspect of it brings out the best individual performances in us, in my opinion, because you're not just competing for yourself.
Out of all the accolades that I read about you earlier, I think my favorite one personally is your freshman year 1600 time, which was that 4 minutes 54 seconds one. That won you the Metro League your freshman year. Then in 2020 at Princeton, you set your mile PR, and I know that the 1600 and the mile aren't exactly the same distance, it's only different by like 9 meters. Ran that mile in 4 minutes 41 seconds, which is just flying. So that means you knocked off probably about 12 to 13 seconds from a mile time. Of course, you've gotten stronger, you've gotten fitter, you've gotten more experience. But talk about what the last lap of that mile race felt like. You must have known you were on a PR pace, but you must have been in some physical pain, mental pain as well. Can you tell us what that felt like?
It was pretty intense because actually in that race, it was me and one other girl who's actually from Washington who runs for Georgetown. It was pretty intense. Actually, I feel like at that point, I was so absorbed in the competition aspect of it, I had no idea what pace I was. I was actually literally spaced out, in the zone, which I feel like brings out the best races in me, actually. I was hurting. I was moving my legs as fast as I possibly could, not engaging with any negative thinking and just trying to go as fast as I could. Unfortunately, both me and the other girl got outkicked by someone who came around us in that final lap, and I came in 3rd that day. Even though I didn't have quite the kick, to win the race, I was so happy when I saw the time. It was my first mile of the season. I hadn't run a mile or anything close to that distance in 9 months or so. So it was just super awesome to see my mile opener in a PR. Every race I learn a little more about how I can be better, and I was super happy with it. I couldn't have asked for anything better than a PR. So.
Well, runners, speaking of the physical pain of running that fast, runners, competitive runners especially, you're like machines that need this constant oiling and detailing and paying attention to, and then things like that. And you probably faced your own share of running related injuries, but as a high level competitor, can you pick up any, can you tell us about any health hacks that you picked up along the way? And don't mind if I take a few notes during this section.
I am a very big nerd about all the things you do to stay healthy, because every time I've gotten injured, I'm always studying it really closely and trying to figure out how to make myself better. And I would say the key things I've learned over the past few years is that it's the things you do outside the actual running that matters so much. And they're very simple things that are so important, like sleep. You just need to get sleep. It's huge. I try to get 9 hours sleep every night. It's basically the key to performance. And then obviously fueling's super important as well. Like, you need to energize your body not only before you run, but after you run to recover. And then hydration. In addition to those things, you should probably stretch and roll, and strength training is also huge. I have this running log that I think really helps keep me accountable when I can put in the days I'm supposed to roll, the days I stretch, and the days I do core, and just seeing that every day and checking off the boxes helps me really keep accountable, because a lot of times you can be like, oh, I don't want to do it, but it's actually so important.
Before I ask you the next question, I lost my lights. I'm going to go turn my lights on. Hold on.
Yeah.
When's the last time that you went for a run without a watch?
This might not be the answer you're looking for, but it was a pretty normal run that I did in my new home with my brother in New Jersey. On just a local trail. And the reason why I didn't have a watch is because my watch died.
Okay, so it's all right. So other than that technicality, it's probably, has it been a long time?
It's been a very long time, actually, because I'm a very data person. So I like to use the watch to help me keep track of my weekly mileage, my heart rate. But I do really believe that there is value to disconnecting from the watch, which is why on a lot of my recovery days, even though I have my watch, I like make a pact with myself. You're not looking at it when you hear the little miles split ding, like you're not gonna look at it, because it's just purely effort based, and there's no point in looking at your watch. It is true. Like, people can get super attached to their watch. The Garmin is very special to runners sometimes. Any watch they use is special.
Sophie, we are moving on to a section we call time trial. So speaking of you're pretty fast, we're going to test a different kind of speed for you here. I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions in a row that have nothing to do with track or cross country or even you or Lakeside or anything. I'm going to put 60 seconds on a clock somewhere down here, and we're going to time you. I believe our record holder as of right now is Callan Spiller, who got 11. And nobody's even, as far as I remember, it's not even been close. Callan knocked it out of the park. So you've got to try to beat 11. We've got 60 seconds. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here we go. 60 seconds starts now. What's the state capital in New York?
Albany.
Would you rather go 100 years in the future or 100 years back in time?
100 years in the future.
What's a food that you eat for dessert that people wouldn't normally call a dessert?
Gosh dang it. Cereal?
What do you vacation in the ocean or in the mountains?
Ocean.
Would you rather text or talk on the phone?
Text.
Name a word that starts with the letter H.
Hi.
Are cranberries good?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
7.5.
How many hours of sleep do you need?
9.
How would you rate your karaoke skills on a scale of 1 to 10?
4.5.
What's your favorite day of the week?
Oh, Friday.
What's the most used app on your phone?
I think messages.
You snuck that one in right at 60 seconds, which means you answered 12 questions right.
Oh, wow.
You are new time trial champion. I clicked my stopwatch here at 1 minute exactly, right when you said messages. So you are the new time trial champion, the new person to beat. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There's going to be a little bit of a beef about this, I think, because of one of those questions you already answered previously in the show where you said you only needed 9 hours of sleep. I'm going to count it anyway. You're the new champion. Congratulations.
12 is the number of the day today, it seems.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay, Sophie, we are entering the segment that we call Run It Back, and that is where we bring on a person from your time here in Lakeside track and cross country to ask you a few trivia questions of their own. So we're going to let them into the room now.
Oh my God.
Coach Sally Revere.
Hello. How are you?
Sally, thank you for joining us. Sally Revere, running program head at Lakeside School. Sally, how long have you been coaching at Lakeside?
Over 30 years.
Okay, and you're also an alum. Do you feel like reminding us what year you graduated from Lakeside?
Oh, the great year of 1979.
Right on, 1979. Coach, I understand you've got some trivia questions of your own for Sophie that we're going to test her historical knowledge of her time at Lakeside. So it's on you guys whenever you guys are ready.
All right.
Absolutely. You ready, Soph?
Yep, I'm ready to go. I'm a little intimidated.
Okay.
You have a lot of
Okay, turn the Wayback Machine on. Here it goes.
Oh.
Name the school where we raced an early season 2-mile race every year.
Seahome. No.
We did race there once.
Bellarmine.
Yes,
Bellarmine.
that's what
Okay.
on the sheet of paper, those were the 2 names I had. Good job. One season, we didn't have an athletics building because the new one was getting built. So we iced somewhere different daily. Where did we ice and what container did you ice in?
We iced on the track, right? In these huge tubs. I don't know what they were for.
What were those tubs? Do you remember?
They were like these, I feel like they were steel tubs or something. I forget what they were. They were like just.
Do you want me to tell you what it was?
Yes, please.
They were horse troughs.
Oh my God. I don't know if I knew that. I just saw the top and I went with it.
You had to wear your down jackets and your hats and everything because it was so cold.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And rainy.
Those were the days.
Okay, here's one that maybe you won't know. Okay, other than calling you Soph, your coaches called you something else. And they called you something else when you were racing really hard or having a really tough workout because of what you looked like. Do you remember what this was?
I feel like they called me a pirate.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Because starting in sophomore year, I just close this eye. It's the only one I can close one eye with. I can't do it with this eye, really. I can only do it with this eye. I don't know why, but I am still trying to stop doing that. And it's a work in progress.
Okay, good.
I don't know when I'm doing it.
Now that you're coming back in town, if you race in town, I'll come and I'll tell you if it happens or not.
Please. I really need to stop doing that.
Okay, and this is the last one I have for you. How many grade level course records do you hold? And I'll give you a hint. It's the same number as when you graduated because nobody has beaten them.
This is one stat that we didn't cover, so that's good.
Really?
Yeah.
I 5?
Do you want to guess a number and I'll tell you if you're getting close or not?
3?
More.
6.
Okay, one more guess. More.
9.
Okay, the number is 17. And if you want, I'll text you all of them if you want.
What?
17? Wow.
17.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. I never knew that.
That's pretty impressive. We've already learned based off of the intro and all the different things we talked about that she's pretty fast and her name's peppered. We talked about it's all over the place in the different course records and school records and things like that. So that just affirms it even more, I think. Sally, thank you so much for coming on and testing Sophie's knowledge of her time here. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Soph, it was great seeing you.
Sally, it was so good to see you. I was so excited for whoever this guest may be, and I'm ecstatic. So good to see you.
We have reached the end of the Next Level show, which means we're going to turn it over to you for our shout out segment. This is where we just leave it to you to say hi to anybody that you want in your Lakeside life or personal life or whatever it is. So
there's so many shout outs. I just want to say hello to all the Lakeside cross country and track teammates, fellow captains Drew, Bennett, Tamina, Andrea, Rebecca, De La Cruz Gunderson, the whole top 7 team in 2013 and 2014, and then Emily, Carrie, Esther, AR, Sanjay, Declan, Xander, Fred, so many people, I could just keep going and going and going, but hello entire Lakeside cross country alumni and current members and track as well. I just miss the Lakeside community a lot, so yeah, it's a privilege to do this and involve myself in whatever way I can with the community. So,
well, Sophie, thank you so much for coming on and being on the show. I know it's been a long time since our last one, and you and I have been talking for a while about getting you on one of these episodes. So I'm glad we could do it. When you find yourself back at UW starting to run races, look us up, let us know. We all want to come see you run again, and we will make sure to watch out for your name out here on the West Coast.
Yeah, thank you. I will definitely stay in touch and be hopefully making lots of visits. So
good. Okay, Sophie, thank you so much, and take care and be safe.
Thank you.